Welcome to the Hodja on Everything. The Space. Chapter 10, The Pale Blue Dot. In the previous episode, we returned to our nearest celestial neighbor. We discovered how the moon has shaped our planet, our calendars, our myths, and even humanity's first steps beyond Earth. We finished by looking outward once again, preparing for one final journey. Today, after traveling from the birth of the universe to the moon itself, we finally come home. Not to a continent, not to a country, but to the tiny world that has quietly carried every human story ever told. Astronauts often describe a remarkable experience after leaving Earth behind. As their spacecraft climbs higher and our planet gradually shrinks beneath them, something unexpected happens. Borders disappear. Cities become invisible. Arguments seem strangely unimportant. From space, Earth no longer looks like a collection of nations. It simply becomes one beautiful blue world floating alone in the darkness. Psychologists call this the overview effect. It is not a new scientific discovery. It is simply a new way of seeing something that has always been there. Apparently, perspective travels surprisingly well. Perhaps that is one of astronomy's greatest gifts. It does not merely teach us facts about stars and planets. It quietly changes the way we think about ourselves. Distances that once seemed unimaginably large become understandable. Problems that once felt overwhelming occasionally become a little smaller. Looking outward, rather unexpectedly, teaches us how to look inward. In February 1990, one spacecraft performed an extraordinary favor for humanity. The Voyager 1 probe had already completed its grand tour of the outer solar system and was beginning its journey into interstellar space. Before switching off its cameras forever, the astronomer Carl Sagan suggested that the spacecraft be turned around one final time. From almost 6 billion kilometers away, Voyager photographed the planets it was leaving behind. Earth appeared not as a globe, nor even as a visible sphere, but as a tiny pale blue dot suspended within a thin beam of scattered sunlight. Had someone shown you the photograph without explanation, you might easily have missed our entire world. It remains one of the most humbling images ever taken. Every mountain, every ocean, every civilization, every empire, every invention, every work of art, every scientific discovery, every child, every family, every conversation, and every podcast in human history unfolded on a dot so small that it occupies less than a single pixel. Astronomy has repeatedly reminded us that Earth is not the center of the universe. Yet somehow, knowing that does not make our world feel less important. It makes it feel infinitely more precious. Because despite discovering thousands of exoplanets, imagining Dyson swarms around distant stars, and searching countless worlds for signs of life, one remarkable fact remains unchanged. This tiny pale blue dot is still the only place in the universe where we know life exists. Every journey we have taken across the cosmos has quietly brought us back to the same conclusion. Home, it turns out, is far rarer than we ever imagined. That tiny blue world, however, has never been as permanent as it appears. Looking at a globe, it is easy to imagine that the continents have always occupied their familiar positions. Earth, however, tells a rather different story. Continents are not fixed. They drift, collide, separate, and reunite over immense stretches of time. Apparently, even continents occasionally need a change of scenery. Around 335 million years ago, nearly all of Earth's land was joined together in a single supercontinent known as Pangaea. Before that came other supercontinents such as Rodinia and Columbia, while the southern continents once formed Gondwana. Over millions of years, enormous tectonic plates carrying the continents slowly moved across Earth's surface, reshaping oceans, mountain ranges, and climates. They continue to move today at roughly the same speed that your fingernails grow. Geology, it seems, rewards those with extraordinary patience. Earth possesses another remarkable advantage, a magnetic field that shields life from much of the harmful radiation constantly arriving from space. Apparently, the universe can occasionally be a rather windy place. This movement has never really stopped. The Atlantic Ocean continues to widen. The Mediterranean may eventually disappear. Africa is slowly drifting northwards, while Australia is making steady progress towards Asia. Hundreds of millions of years from now, today's continents may once again assemble into a new supercontinent. Scientists have proposed names such as Amasia or Pangaea Proxima, although exactly what will happen remains uncertain. One thing, however, appears remarkably consistent. Earth has little interest in leaving the furniture where we put it. Nor has Earth's climate remained unchanged. Throughout its history, our planet has experienced dramatic shifts between warmer and colder periods. Vast ice sheets have repeatedly advanced across continents before retreating again. During the last ice age, sea levels were so much lower that Britain was connected to mainland Europe by dry land, while humans crossed from Asia into North America across what is now the Bering Strait. Geography, it turns out, has been changing its borders considerably longer than politicians have. When we study Earth's history, one lesson appears again and again. Change is perfectly natural. Continents move, oceans open and close, mountains rise before slowly wearing away. Climates fluctuate over millions of years. Earth has never been a finished product. It is still under construction. Yet there is something different about the changes we are witnessing today. For the first time in Earth's long history, one species has become capable of altering the planet on a global scale within only a few generations. We have explored distant worlds throughout this season, searching for places that might resemble home. Ironically, while looking for another habitable planet, we have sometimes neglected the extraordinary one we already possess. Climate change, disappearing species, and damaged ecosystems are not problems occurring somewhere else in the cosmos. They are happening here, on the only planet currently known to contain coffee, libraries, architecture, terrible traffic, and everyone you have ever loved. It would be rather unfortunate if, after searching the universe for another home, we forgot to look after the one we already have. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson this first season has quietly been building towards. We began with the birth of space and time itself. We watched galaxies, stars, and planets emerge from clouds of dust. We searched for life beyond Earth, imagined civilizations capable of harnessing the energy of entire galaxies, traveled all the way to the possible end of the universe, and then returned to our own moon before finally looking back at home. It has been a rather long journey to discover that home was worth appreciating all along. Looking back at Earth from so far away may also help us notice something that is surprisingly easy to overlook while standing on it. We have spent this entire season searching for remarkable places across the universe, yet the only known world that supports life is the one beneath our feet. Perhaps seeing our planet from a distance reminds us not only of how beautiful it is, but also of how fragile it is. Perspective, it seems, may be one of the greatest gifts that space exploration has given us. Astronomy, strangely enough, has never really been about escaping Earth. It has always been about understanding it better. Every new telescope, every spacecraft, and every distant photograph has quietly taught the same lesson. The universe is unimaginably vast, astonishingly old, and filled with extraordinary worlds. Yet none of them, so far as we know, has produced Shakespeare, jazz, pizza, penguins, Greek mythology, or that one drawer in every kitchen that somehow contains batteries, rubber bands, and at least 3 instruction manuals for appliances nobody remembers buying. The cosmos is full of wonders. Home happens to be one of them. Our journey, however, is only just beginning. In the next season, we will stay on this remarkable little planet, but we will begin asking an entirely different set of questions. How did life emerge from chemistry? Why did evolution produce such extraordinary diversity? Why did dinosaurs rule the Earth for so long? And why are birds, technically speaking, still dinosaurs? Why does evolution seem strangely determined to keep inventing crabs? How do ants and slime molds solve problems without possessing anything we would normally call a brain? What still hides in the deepest oceans? Why do monkeys seem remarkably interested in politics? And how might humanity itself continue to evolve? Having spent this season exploring the stage, next season we shall finally meet the cast. So, thank you for joining me throughout this first season. Whether you listened while commuting, walking, cooking, traveling, or simply staring out of a window pretending to think about something else, I genuinely appreciate your company. I hope these 10 chapters have made the universe feel a little larger, and our tiny blue home a little more precious. Sometimes looking back at Earth from the edge of the solar system is exactly what we need to see it properly, and perhaps, just perhaps, seeing our world from so far away will also help us take better care of it. This concludes Chapter 10 of The Space, The Pale Blue Dot, and Season 1 of Hodja on Everything. Thanks for listening. See you in the next season.